Behind me is the future site of Darling Permaculture Park, where students from the University of Manitoba, in partnership with Sustainable South Osborne Community Cooperative, are working with the community to develop Darling Park into a food forest commons.
So Sustainable South Osborne is a nonprofit community service co-op that focuses largely on kind of issues related to localization of food systems. We try and kind of promote programs and awareness raising around sustainability and ecologically responsible activities.
Well, what's the history of the Darling Park? It started as kind of an urban legend, right? But people said, they heard that there was a green caveat, that somebody had donated that land to the city and that it was supposed to be a park, right?
So we found the document. It's called the Green Caveat, and it basically says that no matter what happens to this park, it's got to stay a park.
This site in particular, which right now is just a green space, is going to be more than recreation. I think it's going to help generate ethical income and investment to the community, as well as a food source. It's going to become more diverse, and so it's going to give an opportunity for people to learn when the educational component of it. So you're going to be able to come there and walk and enjoy the grounds, possibly take a workshop, kick a soccer ball around, and get to know your neighbors a little bit better, as well as possibly grow some good food.
Permaculture is a couple of different things. It means different things to different people. To me, it's a philosophy of sustainable living. It's a design science. It's a way of growing food and building community, all kind of packaged together within a grassroots movement that's spread across the planet.
The Darling Permaculture Park will introduce a number of elements that will attract community members while maximizing the environmental benefits that a permaculture park can create. The entrance will feature a cob oven with seating for gatherings of family and friends, with the park housing a natural playground for children, a food forest with accessible walking paths, a greenhouse, learning center, and a recreation area.
A food forest is a way of growing food that mimics ecosystem partnering that you'd find in a forest. So you've got different canopy layers and ground cover layers and different interactions between different types of plants that basically takes care of the ecosystem as a whole. So you don't need to water it as often, you don't have to do any pest management, because basically a forest doesn't need that external input. It takes care of itself on its own.
The greenhouse is very important for the permaculture park. So it'll be the hub of activity for the park. It'll provide us a place where we can start transplants that otherwise we have to buy, and will potentially be a source of revenue for us selling those transplants. And we hope to include a fish pond in it as well, so we can have a closed loop system growing fish and plants together. And of course it extends the season, which is very important for us in Manitoba, where we have a short one.
But again, if you want to actually maximize the use of the greenhouse, then you want to have a place where you can have kids from Montessori and the elementary school and the high school and the university and the community at large that they could come into. And so I think if you had some classrooms attached to that, and again, if you just go online and look at some of these greenhouses that have teaching facilities, I mean, they're extraordinary.
I think for kids and people learning, it's great to have a physical, hands-on example. It's one thing to just talk about food security, but when you're actually growing things in your neighborhood and you're seeing it happen and learning about it, that's really educational.
Permaculture is basically biomimicry. It's copying what nature does, and that to me makes a whole lot of sense. So to see a permaculture site in the neighborhood growing food is a wonderful example for the community to see, and maybe they'll want to duplicate it in any way they can in their own growing.
You have people of common cause who have come together in a neighborhood to make their lives together more sustainable, with techniques that bring us together at the most basic level, like literally on the ground, in the earth, and taking advantage of what's around us in our own neighborhood to feed ourselves, not for 1 year, but sustainably. And what this group has done is an example not only for our neighborhood and our community, but also for the world.
The principles and benefits that permaculture can bring to the community of South Osborne and all of Winnipeg through the development of Darling Park affect us all. If you're interested in being part of the Darling Park project or any of Sustainable South Osborne's initiatives, visit Sustainable South Osborne's website at www.sustainablesouthodborne.com permaculture.com to learn about the various ways that you can get involved.